back, let's go. Set the pace, watch me steal the show. Higher ground, yeah, I'm rising fast. This is my moment, it's built to last. Keep the focus, keep the drive.
Welcome to the Balanced, Beautiful, and Abundant Show. I'm your host, Rebecca Whitman, helping you go from burned out to balanced, beautiful, and abundant. Today, we have a wonderful guest in the studio. Welcome to the show, Julz Vitality.
Thank you, Rebecca, for having me. My pleasure.
So happy you're here, and I'm going to tell my audience about your amazing background. So, Julz leads a positive movement. It's called Positive Impact. She has a whole community of multimedia platforms designed to give voices to inspiring women to rewrite the rules, to lead with soul, and to refuse to fit in. Her mission is to help women everywhere, not just look beautiful, but feel beautiful from the inside out. Being a business mentor and a marketer at heart, she combines her inner and outer beauty in the Positive Beauty virtual platform where women get support, tools, and resources to grow their self-love and their confidence. She partners with influencers, wellness, and beauty businesses to spread this mission around the globe. Well, wow, you're on the Balanced, Beautiful, and Abundant show, and you empower women to feel beautiful from the inside out. So I think you're in the right place.
I think so. I think hopefully we will empower some women today.
That is a goal, and a few good men, I like to say. So let's talk about your origin story. How did you get to go from growing up in Europe to living this beautiful life that you're living in Mexico, empowering women in their beauty?
Thank you for that question. Yeah, it's been a long journey, and if any of our listeners know anything about living in a communist society, you can imagine what it was like being brought up in a uniform and having to fit in. And being born a rebel, it was very difficult for me. So I basically resisted and resented my childhood, teenage years, and into early 20s when my family moved to Canada. And I basically discovered this newfound freedom of self expression, of being who you desire to be. And with the multiculturalism that is common in some of the larger cities in Canada, like Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver, you see multiple aspects and facets of women and people in general being accepted and celebrated. And it gave me literally the permission to start digging into what does this mean for me? How can I use this and break through some of the ceilings that were installed in me by the communist environment? So, long story short, I went into the corporate world because that is the programming most of us receive no matter where we're born. Climbed the ladder, was in a senior vice president position, managing multiple global teams, earning six figures plus, working from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. during the pandemic. Because when you work from home, you can't tune in at any point in time to with your team in China, in Europe, and in India. That's granted, you should be doing that, right? So with that and everything else that pandemic brought, with having the family at home and my children were at home, and it was just becoming very, very difficult to manage all this and creating the boundaries between the work and life when you're working literally behind the closed door in your bedroom. So it did contribute to burnout, and I was in the mental fog. I started forgetting elementary things like leaving an iron plugged in or leaving a pot on the stove. And I literally had to, one day I was reading something on the screen at work, well, work from home, and I realized I was rereading the same paragraph 10 times and not, it wasn't sinking in. And I took a leave of absence. Long story short, it wasn't an easy decision. I consulted with some friends who have gone through that. And then I was torn with what do I do with it? What do I do with this time that I now have on my hands? I was always an entrepreneur. on the side. I always had a career and then something going on. I was an Avon lady. I offered perfume samples in the store. I even did a little bit of cheerleading, so all kinds of things. I always liked to do something on the side, and it allowed me to meet a lot of cool people and get exposure to what business world is all about. But I always felt like I didn't know enough. So in my later years working in a career, I was actually consuming a lot of business knowledge and information on my drives, commutes to work, whether it was a drive or a train. I was always plugging into audiobooks, podcasts, the 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, and so on. And it was giving me all these ideas. I'm like, I gotta do something. I gotta do something. I gotta burn the bridge. And that was a pivotal moment for me. And to make it easier, or I guess to make it more final, I wrote a goodbye letter to my job.
Oh, I like that idea.
I thanked it for everything that it's given to me. And I
Mhm.
expressed some of the things that I did not like about it. Like I let those feelings out. And I felt a relief to an extent that I couldn't imagine initially. I thought it was just going to be an exercise, but it was really healing. It was
Mhm.
an amazing decision. I think I learned it from some coach. I don't remember who by now. And because I'm a continuous learner, I was involved in Bob Proctor seminars, and I was constantly learning from these big gurus. And I'm like, okay, how do I apply all this knowledge? Because usually what we start doing is learning, but then we accumulate this knowledge and we don't do anything about it. You have to
Right.
do it.
Analysis paralysis. People get stuck in the learning process.
And also fear of the unknown. I don't know how to run a business, so I'm not going to start, right? I don't have all the answers, so I'm not going to impart on the journey because I know I'm going to be making mistakes. I'm going to fail, and I'm scared to do that, right? There's a lot of excuses we build. We're scared of the unknown. And that's a whole other topic that eventually, with personal growth, we should be moving toward embracing the unknown because that's where all the miracles happen. But
Mhm.
especially when we come in from the victim mentality, from being the corporate slave and the hamster in the wheel, we don't know how to do that. We feel very powerless. We feel like if the instructions haven't been given to us with the deadlines and the steps, we don't know what to do. We've been disempowered by our corporate jobs. Even if we had management positions, we had a manager. And our manager was giving us the mandates and the deadlines and the steps and the trainings. So, in order for us to step out of the corporate and go into the entrepreneurial mindset, we have to learn how to rely on ourselves in making decisions and how to allow ourselves to make mistakes.
Mhm.
And
And
that
how
not
to be thrilled by the unknown instead of fear it. Because it's
exactly.
exciting. It's like going on an adventure.
But even if we don't move into the entrepreneurial world, let's say we decide to change careers or just take a
Right.
step and maybe travel for a while, or maybe just take
Right.
time with family, or just to use that time to recover and heal. What I discovered was that who I was pretending to be in that corporate job was not me.
Mhm.
And it was happening for a very long time. And it was starting to create what's called a cognitive dissonance inside of me, where it's like you're looking in the mirror when you're dressing up, in this suit, and you're leaving for work. You get there, you play the role. You're an actress, you know what that's like.
Yes.
And then you take that suit off at night and you're exhausted because you've been playing that role all day long and day after day after day, and sometimes you forget who you really are because you're so used to wearing that suit, that job, that you lose yourself. And what I found, that there's a strong connection between that disconnect and the burnout. That's when we start
Now
feeling
that's
dissatisfied.
interesting. I've had over 250 interviews. Nobody has connected authenticity to burnout. But now that I hear you explain it, yes, it takes a lot of energy to put on a show and to play a role that is not genuinely yourself. So how did you get to be doing what you're doing now and leave Canada and go to Cancun, Mexico to live? And tell us how that all happened.
Yeah, so it was actually a coach, a trained therapist coach, who have introduced me to the mirror work, which
Oh,
I don't know if some of you know what that means, but
tell
the
us what the
goal
mirror work is.
The goal of mirror work is to actually love yourself. When you look yourself in the mirror, at yourself in the mirror, into your eyes, to tell yourself you love yourself and you accept yourself with the imperfections that you have. You don't need to be perfect in order to love yourself. You
Mm.
need to love yourself in order to be fulfilled and happy. And
Mm.
if you don't,
Write that
you
down
will
if you're
not.
listening. You don't need to be perfect in order to love yourself, but you do need to love yourself first in order to be fulfilled and happy. Beautiful.
And you know, Marissa Pierce, she coached a
Yes.
lot of celebrities, and she says some of the ones that appear the happiest, they are the emptiest on the inside. Marilyn Monroe is a great example.
Yeah.
Everybody loved her. She couldn't stand herself,
Mhm.
right? So it's not about acceptance from the outside, the external validation. It's the validation from within. And that's what personal development, inner work, and healing does. And sometimes great illustration one of my guests on my show gave me is it's just like a label on the bottle and we're inside the bottle. We cannot see the label on our own bottle. We need a coach, a friend, a therapist to help us. They have their own bottle and they can't read their own bottle.
Right.
Right,
Right.
it's like
We're all in
Coke
our
has
own.
rotten teeth.
So the coach said you should leave Canada and go to Mexico and be a
No, no,
coach.
no, no,
What
no.
happened?
The coach said, find a way to accept yourself the way you are. We were doing mirror work, and what it was doing, it was creating, it was breaking through some subconscious limiting beliefs.
Mm.
And then I started allowing myself to reach higher and to dream bigger because we also need to allow ourselves to do that.
Mhm.
Being in the corporate environment, sometimes we're given this map. You start in the mailroom, you finish as a CEO or whatever, VP. Okay. This is your path. Maybe in a different position in a different company, but basically that's it. Right. You get a house, two cars, whatever it is, 2.5 kids, the American dream. Right. We don't dream outside of that. And we don't dream differently than that. So when I started doing mirror work and therapy and personal development, I realized I don't want that dream.
Mhm.
It doesn't really fulfill me. It's been the one I've been wearing all this time as a role, and I've been moving up in that dream, but it's not my dream. It's not my life to live. By series of fortunate in this time events, I somehow got a hold of a magazine, International Living. It was meant for retirees, and it basically had articles, paper magazine, pre-pandemic, uh, and a digital as well. And it had articles and images of places to retire, living on the beach. And I'm like, I really want to read these. Let me put my family to bed, get myself a glass of a favorite beverage. And yes, I'm a wine. I am a wine connoisseur, so I would have a glass of wine and a low light, and I would read these magazines and visualize myself there. And little that I knew, that was exactly the step to manifest anything. And I didn't even study manifestation at that time. Later on, I studied manifestation. I studied law of attraction coaching and all these kinds of things. And I'm like, this is why this happened because I was living it as I was already there.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell you the long story. It was literally not a straight path at all. The way my destiny moved things around in order for me to end up in Mexico was not a linear path. I literally probably wouldn't have imagined this possible path. But here I am, 4 years now, on a beautiful turquoise ocean with white sand. I travel all around the world. I have a business that I can do from anywhere in the world because I started constructing my future from my thoughts. I started elevating what's possible for me. Let me dream bigger. And the bigger for you does not mean somebody else is bigger,
Yeah.
right? For somebody else, it could be a 7-figure paycheck. For me, it's a 3-hour work day or 5-hour work week and
Yeah.
doing it from the beach and being able to wake up and not think about where what I need to do today, or being able to come on podcasts and show and speak when I want to versus having it on a schedule. I often teach my clients to start with your ideal schedule. What is your
That's a
ideal
good
life
question
supposed to look
for the
like?
listeners. What is your dream schedule? So for me, I have really slowed it down. I didn't take a dramatic move like to a warm place. I took a dramatic move from a warm place to a cold place, but it is my dream house in my hometown. And now I have a much slower morning. I went from working out at 7:30 a.m. to working out at 9, having a slow morning, and then just easing into my work day, working for a few hours, and then having quality time with friends and my husband. And I take a nice break during the middle of the day and walk my dog. And it's just a beautiful way to live. But even myself, I have to be very conscious to slow down because I feel like the collective is so fast. You can stay busy in a place like Mexico. Like I have a client in similar area, Cozumel. She's like, I've moved here to slow down and I can't slow down. So what do you tell the people that are not accustomed to slowing down? We're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back to that question in just a couple minutes. Thanks for listening to the Balanced, Beautiful, and Abundant Show. We'll be right back.
How clean is the water you're drinking and bathing in? If you call Aquasana Water today, they'll provide you with a free assessment telling you the condition of your tap water. Aquasana sells whole house water filters starting at $1,000. Isn't that worth it to have a 10-year supply of filtered, cleaner water? Aquasana water filters tackle chlorine taste and odor and can reduce contaminants like viruses, lead, forever chemicals, and microplastics, depending on the system you purchased. So make the free call, find out the condition of your water, and make your water cleaner the Aquasana way. It's a smart decision for you and your family and a must for a healthy home. Get a whole house Aquasana water system starting at $1,000 for your entire home. Call and find out the condition of your water with a free water assessment. 800-925-6029. 800-925-6029. 800-925-6029. That's 800-925-6029.
Hey, beautiful soul. It's Rebecca here, your magnetic abundance mentor. If you've been feeling stuck, burned out, or like you're living a life that's fine but not fabulous, we need to talk. My one-on-one coaching isn't just your typical check the boxes program. It's a total mind, body, soul, and money makeover customized just for your goals. Today, we'll unlock your next level abundance in love, health, wealth, and happiness. You'll leave every session feeling centered, confident, and wildly magnetic to everything you desire. So, if you're ready to stop playing small and start living the bold, balanced life you know you're meant for, let's do this. Schedule your breakthrough call today. It's free, it's fun, and it might just change everything. Hey there, are you ready to manifest your dream life and actually start living it? I'm inviting you to join me for the Manifest Your Dream Life retreat at a luxury wellness spa tucked away in Mexico's stunning wine country. Picture this. You have your own private villa surrounded by rolling lavender hills. You're sipping healthy smoothies and matchas and reconnecting with the version of you that's bold, balanced, and beautifully aligned. Not only will we unlock your next level of abundance in all 7 pillars, but you'll also indulge in nourishing spa cuisine, vitamin drip therapy to recharge your body, and a luxury massage at an award-winning spa. It's all inclusive. All you need to do is get to San Diego and a luxury vehicle will whisk you away to paradise. This is your chance to realign, recharge, and radically uplevel your life in total luxury. You deserve it. Spots are limited, so claim yours now and let's make magic together. Just click the pillar link in the show notes to reserve your villa today.
Don't look back, let's go. Set the pace, watch me steal the show. Higher ground, yeah, I'm rising fast. This is my moment, it's built.
Welcome back to the Balanced, Beautiful, and Abundant Show. I am here with Julz Vitality. She is a positive impact coach. She has a magazine, a TV station. She has all these different outlets to help women with their visibility. We are talking about how to slow down, create your ideal schedule. What do you have to say about that, Jules?
That is a great question. And I, what you said about LA, and I lived in Toronto and other large cities, it is a rat race. And it is, at work two, three jobs and squeeze in gym and squeeze in nails and hair, right? And you feel like you've done your self-care. So, how does an individual decide their degree of slowing down? Because
Yes.
there are obligations, right? There are definitely more
There are bills
obligations
to
that we can
pay,
think
and
of.
mouths to feed.
Exactly, especially if you have a family, especially if you're a caregiver for someone and you have a job, and then you always deprioritize yourself,
Yep.
right? So I think one of the first things to learn is that it is okay to say no.
No
I
is a
read,
power word.
I had to read a book to learn it because when I came from a communist country into Canada, I realized it's okay for people to say no, but I couldn't. I did not know how. My family never allowed me to. As a child of that family, there were no boundaries. There was no concept of boundaries, and the word no was not allowed. I had to read a book to give myself that permission. So I would encourage all of our listeners, first of all, to allow yourself to say no. Do that with love. And
Mm-hmm.
remember, you don't have to explain why you're giving it that answer.
Mm-hmm.
That came later. That came as a separate learning opportunity for me. You don't have to explain why you're saying no. For example, you're busy. Somebody else asks you to pick up something on the way from work, or they ask you to dog sit their dog, or they ask you for whatever favor. Sorry, I can't. I would love to, but sorry, I can't. Not this time.
Yes, that's it. You don't have to justify, defend, and explain your boundaries or your no. No is a complete sentence.
Exactly. Key number two, delegate and outsource. And I learned that only as an entrepreneur, but I wish I learned that when I was still employed, and I would my life would have been so much easier as a vice president of a company. I would have had a personal assistant if I knew they existed, if I
Yeah.
knew how affordable they are, especially if they are offshore. But it
Yes.
doesn't have to be a person outside of your family or your friends circle or whatnot. If you are a caregiver, there are often services, there are often volunteer communities that would take your job. Okay. There are students that are learning caregiving, nursing students. They would come and fulfill your duties just to, fill a certain number of hours of their volunteer time. Dig into those resources, look around, do a search. We have AI. Put your specific situation in, you'd be surprised. Put in your
AI
state,
is the
exactly where
best.
you live.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the best personal assistant ever.
Exactly. Yes. First of all, use AI as your personal assistant, organizing things, you know, uh, planning things, even planning trips, all kinds of things. But ask it for how can you alleviate your pain points and stressors? What are they? Maybe first of all, get a mental list, and then or sit with ChatGPT or whatever AI and type it in. I'm over spending here, and I don't have enough time for this. I would like to spend 2 extra days in the gym. I would like to have a half an hour a day to meditate. And this is what my obligations are. This is what I'm doing. Find me the time.
Love that
Okay.
question. Yeah.
Yeah, you can find the time, you can find the money. Often we don't realize some of the habits we have, where the money is going. Simple example, soft drinks.
Yes.
Add up your soft drinks. You're going to have enough money to hire a coach, honestly.
Are coffees like $5 in Cancun like they are here?
Yes, especially at the airport, they are even more. Starbucks is everywhere.
Yeah.
they, they have taken over. And yeah, it does it up, and it is a status symbol. And that is actually another sort of a check that you can do with yourself. What is it that you're doing that maybe fills a little bit of the void by chasing the status, and maybe where you're overspending time or money? And is it really making you happy?
Mhm.
Often we are told by commercials, news, media, friends, the Joneses, right? What we should be spending money and time on. And we do that to pattern somebody else's behavior or a celebrity's lifestyle, right? Question things that you're buying and that you're spending time on. Does it really fulfill me? And that's where authenticity comes in, is knowing your needs, honoring your needs. There's a book I can recommend.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. And then I just wanted to, before that, I wanted to say about the coffee thing. We see pictures of celebrities. They always have a Starbucks coffee in their hand. And I mean, I'm a stockholder in Starbucks, so keep buying it. It just puts money in my pocket as a stockholder. But I'm just saying, you could have your own coffee mug, with your own cool like brand or message on it, and carry that around instead of a Starbucks. And it is a status. You're right. We do a lot of things, labels, cars for status. And so what was your book that you wanted to recommend about authenticity?
Yeah, I think women will love it. It's called Calling in the One
Oh,
by
yes.
Catherine. Forget
Thomas.
her. Sorry?
I took her workshop in person, Catherine Woodward Thomas.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And you think, because when somebody recommended me the book, I thought it's about finding external love, finding a mate.
It's
But
so much deep work.
it's inner work, and it
So much.
helps you find out who you are and the authentic self and
Yes.
discover it and love it, and do not take anything that's less worthy of you. By the end of the book, you're going to be your own best fan and your own best friend and advocate.
I do
I totally
recommend
recommend.
the book. There's so many great writing exercises and writing prompts. And yeah, that book was really amazing.
Yeah, and of course, you're gonna end up attracting the right person if you are, if you're looking for a relationship. And even if you are in a relationship, you're gonna learn how to turn around certain patterns in order for that relationship to be more fulfilling. And it's going to spread to other relationships like partnerships and employees and whatnot. It's just it puts you, it makes you such more balanced person. And some of the principles that I shared today, I have learned from that book as well, or I have actually implemented them. Because remember, learning is one thing, implementing is the other.
Yes, exactly. But I read the book and did the journal and took the workshop live and online, and I called in the wrong one. So it's okay. The next one was the one. So if you don't call in the one right away like I did, that's okay too.
Well, we're a peel an onion. We peel off a
Right,
layer. We find
right.
a new version of ourselves, but that version has its own work to do, or trauma to heal.
Absolutely. So let's talk about your philosophy on beauty. I really appreciate that you have your platforms. I know you've asked me to put some of my content like in different beauty salons and med spas where you have your content. Let's talk about your business model of putting positive personal growth content in beauty businesses. I love this.
Yeah, I actually worked in beauty business for a couple of years. I was a cosmetologist, so I did hair and aesthetics. So I know the goal of it is to help a woman be beautiful and feel beautiful. But what often happens, if any of you here ever served a client in the beauty or wellness field, they start telling you about what's wrong with their life, and as they're in that chair, right? So they may leave with a better haircut, or you know after being taken care of, because you're really taking care of a client when they're with you, they may have a temporary improvement in mood or feel better, but they get back into the real life and the same things continue to happen. They're seeking external validation, maybe they're not getting it, and they wake up with bedhead next day and they feel the same way as before they came in. So external beauty, or the way external things and treatments can help us feel better about ourselves, are temporary and minuscule. What really works, and every time I would work out in the gym and I see an overweight woman going at it, I want to be like, I want to have that confidence. Because you know what that confidence comes from? Is I don't care what anybody thinks about me. I'm doing this.
Yeah, it takes
I'm
a lot of courage to show up at the gym and not work out at home, show up in a class overweight. I agree.
Yeah.
I don't judge them like, why are they overweight? I'm like, you go girl, like
I
it takes.
admire them.
Yeah, I admire them too.
I admire them. There is a lady who's a manifestation coach, and she's very voluptuous, let's just say. And she just radiates this confidence. So when
Yes.
you observe these women, you can tell, and you can tell some most considered beautiful women on the planet and models, known for low self esteem. So there is very little relationship between the way you look and the way you feel and how beautiful you feel. And you can look far from a standard definition of beautiful, but you can radiate that beauty and you can attract flocks of men and women to want to follow you and ask you, how are you doing it? How are you able to love yourself the way you are? So it goes back to self love,
Yes.
sense of worthiness, sense of self acceptance. Again, with all the imperfections we have, nobody is perfect. And there are so many opinions out there about the shape of a nose, the color of the hair, height, weight, size, shape, that nobody's ever going to like one person. There's a variety of tastes. Variety is a contributor to growth and
And
expansion.
and individuality is beautiful. Like when I was in LA, I would go to parties in Beverly Hills. Everyone had the same big lips, the same nose job, the same fillers in their cheeks. I mean, they look like the same person. Part of
Yeah.
beauty is being individual and being perfectly imperfect, and to embrace your imperfections. And I have a very traditional mom who nags about me sometimes, my hair is too frizzy or whatever, and I said, Mom, I am beautifully imperfect. And she doesn't even know what to say, but that is a new generation of beauty, is embracing, going back to the beginning of this conversation, authenticity and embracing your imperfection. So before we cut to the commercial break, tell us about this business of putting personal growth radio and TV in salons and med spas.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we often working in a business like that, we often find out where that person is struggling in their life, whether it's in the relationships or work, or we observe the level of their confidence or lack of. So what not a better place to encourage them to maybe look at a resource, starting with complimentary resources, or take a class or book a consult with someone who can help them feel beautiful within. Doesn't matter what they look like on the outside. Nothing wrong with it. Nice haircut and red lipstick, of course, but not for everyone.
You're rocking your red lipstick, by the way.
Think there's a story about red lipstick. I used to hate red. Anyhow, the point is, these are the people who are most naturally can help women to look into other aspects of beauty. Let's just call it that, the inner beauty to complement the outer beauty, right? And it is a circle. The more you feel worthy of going for that haircut, the more money you're going to spend in that salon. So it helps the businesses, and it helps the women, and it helps those who are putting their content on there, because they get to help the population of women who are maybe less confident, less secure about themselves, to grow in that self-love and self-worth.
So is this business already up and running? You already have your personal growth, which is called Positive Impact, streaming into beauty salons and spas?
Yes, we have a pilot running, and we are on a goal to get it all over the globe. We have Australian partnerships and European partnerships.
Amazing.
So this is going to take over the world, and I hope that this will become the norm. I hope that this will be as close to one another as, peanut butter and chocolate. Inner beauty, outer beauty. It should become, the
I
pair.
love it. I love it. Well, we are going to take a quick commercial break, and I'm not going to let that red lipstick story go. So when we come back from this break, we're going to hear about the story behind Julz's red lipstick. And if you're not watching on YouTube, check her out on YouTube. She's got beautiful red lipstick on, and we'll be right back. Thanks for listening to the Balanced, Beautiful, and Abundant Show.
Keep the focus, keep the drive. No slow motion, I'm alive. Power surging, can't deny. I'm unstoppable, touch the sky.
People ask all the time, who the heck is Low Cost Airlines? Well, we're not just one airline. When you're talking to us, you're talking to everyone. We are the discount supermarket for all airline tickets. Plus, we have all the airlines and always have the best prices. American, Delta, United, plus all the specialized international airlines, and a lot more. And we make it easy. We guarantee you'll talk to a live human in 60 seconds. You can have the rates you need and have your trip booked in 5 minutes. Now, how cool is that? And remember, when you're talking to us, it's like talking to every single airline available with one fast phone call. All you need to do is call and find the best prices to fly wherever it is you want to go. So are you ready? Call Low Cost Airlines right now. 800-451-8603. 800-451-8603. 800-451-8603. That's 800-451-8603.
Hey there, fellow travelers. It's me, the Hotel Whiz. Before you go anywhere, call me day or night for hotel rates too low to publish. I'll save you up to 75% on over 500,000 hotels across the globe. You see, I've already done the research, so you don't have to spend time online trying to find the best deal. That's up to 75% off. Just call me, the Hotel Whiz. It's a free call, and you get instant access to rates too low to publish with no cancellation fees.
Make a free call now and save up to 75% off your hotel rooms the next time you're going somewhere for business or pleasure. Call the Hotel Whiz now and get instant access to rates too low to publish. 800-590-1163. 800-590-1163. 800-590-1163. Call the Hotel Whiz right now for rates too low to publish. 800-590-1163.
Okay, can I be real for a second? You're out there crushing it in some areas of your life, but in others, it's like a hot mess express. Sound familiar? Here's the thing. You're not just meant to survive, you're meant to thrive. And that's exactly what I help my clients do in my coaching program. Together, we'll tackle all 7 pillars of abundance, because who wants killer abs but a dumpster fire of a bank account? Or a thriving career but zero in the romance department? Yeah, no thanks. I'm inviting you to schedule a breakthrough call with me. No pressure, no awkward sales pitch, just you, me, and a chance to figure out why you're stuck and how to get unstuck. So stop doom scrolling and start doing something about it. Click the link in the show notes and let's start giving you your best, most bougie life. You in?
Don't look back, let's go. Set the pace, watch me steal the show. Higher ground, yeah, I'm rising fast.
Welcome back to the Balanced, Beautiful, and Abundant Show. I'm interviewing Julz Vitality, and she's going to tell us the story behind her beautiful red lipstick.
Thank you. It is actually a story demonstrating how inauthentic I used to be. And this is an expression of my authenticity. Although I do have a lot of naysayers and people who judge it. But I gratefully say thank you for your feedback and leave it at that. So it came to me one day when I was working in a successful corporate job. I walked into my walk-in closet, which, was a cool thing to have. I felt very accomplished. And I was picking out an outfit for that day. And I realized that majority of my outfits were on a gray scale. So they were white, black, or shade of gray. 50 shades of gray, literally. That was my wardrobe. There were a couple of scarves that had a little bit of color. And I was like, well, why does it matter what I pick? Because it's all literally the same. Why? Because I wanted to blend in. And in fact, recently I realized that a lot of people have this complex of not being noticed, not wanting to stand out because they feel that they're not worthy of attention or spotlight, so they would rather get lost in the crowd. Sometimes I think in The Matrix, they had this crowd, a drone view of a crowd crossing, Times Square or something.
Yes.
And there was a woman in a red dress.
Uh-huh.
Right? So that's what people don't want to be, right? They want to be that
want to be
crowd.
the woman in red, yes. And even in the book, The Scarlet Letter, the woman who was the adulterer, she had to wear a red S on her shirt.
Exactly. And
Yes.
that was the programming also from my birthplace
I'm
is
sorry,
only
for adultery. Yeah.
prostitutes wear red lipstick.
That's how men knew the difference between a regular woman and a prostitute, because everybody had to dress conservatively, but the prostitutes wore red lipstick. Yeah.
Right. So, of course, having that programming, for the
Yes.
longest time, I was wearing colorless lip gloss. That was my staple, ponytail and, black and white gray clothes. And the more I was stepping into my authenticity and going through personal development and finding out who the heck I am,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the exercises from the book had me embrace the fact that I am a rebel, I am a nonconformist, and I am powerful. Well,
Yes, you are.
we're not supposed to be okay with that somehow, right? It's a program, and you see, I'm still not proud of saying that because I know a lot of people are gonna go like, she can't say that, right? But you have to understand what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. I have a big list of weaknesses too, which I'm now okay with.
Yeah.
But the hardest part is to accept your strength. The ones that you've been shutting down, putting aside, hiding, that's what's starting to create that inauthentic you. It's
Mhm.
not stepping into your calling, your purpose, your strengths. So one day, I was in British Columbia in Vancouver, and a friend of mine said, "Let's go to Sephora." I'm like, "Why?" "There is this red lipstick. I want to buy it."
And who was it? Who was the red lipstick by?
I don't remember. I don't remember because that wasn't the one that actually stuck with me. But what happened was she made me put it on to test her, or she got the lady to put it on me, and I was like, "This is not me." I'm looking in the mirror and I'm going, "That is not me," because you end up adopting the image you've created of yourself, and it becomes your second self or first self in that case. And but it was a non-removable lipstick, so waterproof or whatever. So I get home and my husband goes, "Wow, why don't you wear this every day?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? It doesn't even look like me. What are you saying?" I was mad. I was mad. So anyway, the day goes on. He's like, "I love it. You should do it more often." So one day I take a risk and I wear it to work. I ended up buying one. She said you should because it looks so good. So I was really scared. I wore it to work and I literally almost walked like this into the office. Hello. And everybody who saw it was like, "That looks good. What, like, something different about you? Oh, you should wear this." And I'm like, "This is really strange. I don't feel comfortable with this, but I guess it's okay." It was like, I guess it's okay. I guess it's okay to try something new. I guess it's okay to put a little bit of color. I started putting on scarves that are colorful on my gray clothes. People starting to tell me, "You need to wear more color. Color looks good on you." When I moved to Mexico, I gave myself permission to go as crazy as I wanted on color. Red, yellow, green. I look good in primary colors. Pastels don't look good at me. They make me look sick just because of my skin tone. So you got to figure out what colors work for you. But I want to give you guys permission, you ladies, permission to find the colors that speak to you, the colors you feel something wearing, because otherwise you're not expressing yourself, and even your energy aligns to the colors you're wearing. And yes, red is a bold color of power. It is overwhelming, and some people associate it with anxiety and, you know, maybe overruling certain things. But again, I don't put all myself in red, and it's all about a combination of the vibration that we feel inside, how we talk to people, who we want to appear to be, and who we start learning to appear to be.
Of talking to people. I know you're a coach helping women learn how to speak on stages, be more visible on social media. What would you tell for the woman or the man who's listening to this who has never gone live? They've never spoken to the camera on their stories. They probably know as an entrepreneur or even as a professional, they should create some kind of an online brand and create a like, know, and trust connection with their audience, but they don't even know how to start. What would you tell that person who has
Great question. I was there. I was very camera shy. I did not like the way my voice sounded on camera. And in my mental fog, I started a podcast. Don't ask me how. I don't know where it came from. It literally was like somebody pressed the button, put a call for speakers, and there you go. I'm a host. And I'm like, well, how do I overcome my fear of being on camera, of asking questions? And what came to me was this: it's not about me. I
Yes.
am a facilitator, I'm a conductor for their brilliance and their expertise to be showcased. That's all.
Beautiful.
So if you take that pressure off of yourself and you have your zone of genius, your expertise, your gifts, and you owe it to the world to share it with more people, hopefully that will help you go on camera and record it because it's not about what you look like or what you sound like. Practice, go on Zoom, record yourself. I look at my first episodes, you guys can still find them on YouTube. I'm a little bit embarrassed. But you know what? If I didn't do that, I wouldn't learn how to do this.
Do you
It's
still
all
get nervous before you go on stage or before you go live?
if it's an unfamiliar environment, I would have to do some breathing exercises and ground myself.
And this isn't even your first language. I mean, you're speaking and coaching and doing everything in a second language. Your first language is what?
I speak Russian and Ukrainian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and now I speak Spanish. So my next goal is to be able to do this in Spanish.
That's incredible. So, what would you tell somebody who wanted to be like you, a digital nomad, and just do something that they could do from their phone all over the world?
Start with that schedule. Imagine what it is that you want to do, but at the same time, I want you guys to be reasonable. Nothing happens overnight. If you go online, there is a billion commercials and ads and coaches who will promise you 8, 9 figures tomorrow
Oh,
with
yeah.
this one secret or with this one system.
Or with this one funnel, it's like, oh my God.
No,
Yes.
I have a video. You can find me and request it. I lay the foundation of what an online business is, and brick by brick. Okay, so it takes time to lay the bricks. Okay, once you've laid the bricks, you can achieve that lifestyle. But it doesn't come overnight. You can slow down, focus, and focus is very, very important. If you chase several rabbits, you're not gonna catch any, as you know. So tuning into your purpose, understanding why people buy. I took a lot of sales training as well. Why do people buy? What need are you filling? And it doesn't have to be a tangible need. Look at entertainment. Everybody has a need to have fun.
Yeah.
Everybody has a need to feel good. Art, right? So tune into the emotion that triggers the person on the other end to want to work with you or buy from you, and then work with someone to create an offer. Once you have a solid offer, you can build a business. But a lot of people start creating tech, scaling, funnels, and ads when they don't even know what they're selling. That's what I find as the biggest mistake online.
So good. Well, I know that you've been in the beauty business. Your heart is to help women feel more beautiful. What is your morning routine, or what are some of your favorite wellness hacks?
Yeah, awesome. And hopefully we can share a whole article about that with our audience. So it
I
took
know
me
there's a
years.
special gift about it, but I want to give them a teaser.
Yeah, so it took me years to build because as I'm learning different things and interviewing people, people like yourself, different coaches as well, I pick up from them as well. So if you've ever read A Miracle Morning or any kind of morning routine, books or audiobooks, they talk about 6 areas that if you can even implement 10 minutes in each of those areas in your morning or at some time throughout the day, then those are the habits of the most successful people on the planet, right? So that is meditation, exercise, reading, writing, and I probably forgot one. So let's start with
Affirmation.
affirmations.
Yeah.
Perfect. So my
Visualization.
affirmations are literally a swipe on my phone and I just start typing it and it pulls up the audio. So mine's are called morning affirmations, and it starts playing at 20 minutes. Sometimes I play it before I'm fully awake, and at around 10-minute mark, I realize I'm awake. So it actually kind of like works as
So
my
literally you do it as you're opening your eyes, you're playing affirmations. That is so valuable, listeners, because when you're half awake, your subconscious is the most accessible. It's before your personality or egoic mind jumps in with all your old limiting beliefs. So this is a great time to do the
yeah. On
affirmation.
top of that, I listen to them all night long. I listen to subliminal noises, so you can pick whatever noise you like: storm, rain, or fan. There are cool noises now. They're called oxytocin, dopamine noise. You can find anything, whatever noise you like. But I find them with the subliminal affirmations and a certain frequency. So you can basically do three in one. The common noise, the frequency that's going to help your cells literally rearrange and
What app do you use for these nighttime affirmations?
YouTube.
Wow. And you don't have to hear ads? You bought the YouTube with no ads.
I have premium, but those who don't can pick one that's called live. The ones that are live do not put commercials in, so that's the workaround.
There you go. And what is the channel on YouTube that you
I
listen
literally it's about multiple channels. Literally just put in the search what I want to listen to. For example, sometimes I feel like I'm low on self-love. So I go self-love, subliminal affirmations, fan noise, for example, or black screen. For those of you who are putting it through a TV, you may want to put in black screen. I don't. So, for example, if it's a premium, YouTube premium, it shuts down the screen on my phone. I make sure I leave the phone far away. So, all night long, and for years now, I've been using this basically free time, right?
Yeah.
To help my subconsciousness to catch up to what you're doing consciously, all the learning you're doing consciously. Then when I wake up, I'm a huge espresso fan, and I have a Dolce Gusto machine. So I have my espresso. I totally prefer that to Starbucks. And I have it with MCT oil and a drop of stevia. MCT oil does two things. First of all, if anyone on keto, it does not break your fast, and it also increases your brain activity. Okay, and it is a good oil. It's stripped of the sort of negative ingredients in the coconut oil. But you can also use coconut oil or butter or other
ghee.
oils.
Yeah.
Ghee
Yeah.
as well. Yes. So I do that, and then I go outside to get the sun rays to help my circadian rhythm to stay tuned into the sunset and sunrise. So I sit outside if possible. If not, you can do it close to a window. And I have a book actually right here. Let me grab it. And the cool thing about the book, it's actually a summary of interviews Tim Ferriss did. So you had 250 episodes, and this is probably about this big, and a chapter about each episode. And he talks about what he learned from that guest.
Wow. So you read a
I
paragraph.
read a chapter or sometimes a page, depending on how long the coffee lasts me, and it's broken into three sections: health, wealth, and wisdom.
You
So
do this
depending on
every
what I'm
morning.
inclined, I do this every morning. So I bought this for it's secondhand, cheap, in some secondhand store, because majority of my books were donated during my multiple moves. I moved probably 20 times in my life. So a lot of my books I listen to audiobooks most of the time. So I wanted to have a book on paper that I could read. And then if you are a writer, you can also have a little journal and, take some notes. Sometimes I take photos of certain things that really impact me. And then on my drive, then I go to the gym. Then on my drive to the gym, sometimes I would create a video or a reel, of course, in a holster. You're not driving and taping. And I would share my thoughts or what I learned reading that chapter.
Wow.
And it creates great content.
Oh, so if you're listening to this and you don't know how to do content, you can talk about what you're learning from a great book. There you go. That's a great way to start with your content, because then you don't have to generate it. Beautiful.
Yeah. But
So
you don't have to go to the gym. You can do that you can work out. For example, you can do some jumping squats at home, and that's the morning.
So you do the gym, because you have the MCT oil in your coffee, it holds you over. And then what do you eat after your workout?
I'm on a keto diet or lifestyle, I would say. So it's basically high protein, high fat, but good fat. Basically, very similar to carnivore, but I do eat a lot of green vegetables. So the reason why I work out after I have a coffee, but not after food, sometimes I eat, depends, is because there's a hormone called mTOR, that is basically helping you grow muscle
Mhm.
when you work out in a fasted state.
Mhm.
So what that does is, as we move into perimenopause, menopause, or let's just say second half of our life, our muscle growth speed decreases and we start losing muscle. So we have to work so much harder to maintain and gain muscle. So I chose to use this strategy and maybe bulk up in some people's opinion, because for me, having muscle is more important than being thin. To me, that's support
Absolutely.
system for my bones.
Strong is the new skinny.
Yeah.
So we don't even have time to go into all your wellness practices because we're running out of time. But luckily for our audience, you're giving them a gift. So tell them about your gift so you can get all the scoop on Julz's wellness practices.
Yeah, so you're gonna get a video on an article that talks about what we just covered. So it covers the morning, midday, or throughout the day rather, and evening routine, because evening routine is also very, very important before bed. So you guys are gonna get these three chunks and my recommendations based on what I've researched and implemented and tried and what didn't work. So you don't have to utilize them all. Even if you pick one or a couple to implement in your life, you're gonna see great improvements. And most importantly, you're going to feel a lot more vital. That's why I have my last name is Vitality, so I live up to it. I have to. This is my brand. So that is very important, because one thing I want you to remember, guys, if we are sick, we can only think about one thing: getting better. When we are well, we can dream big, we can do things. We're a lot more inspired, motivated to go conquer the world. But if we're sick, the only thing we're going to think about is getting better. So you don't want to limit yourself. You want to get into the preventative state to get yourself to the optimal level of performance so you can show up to this world and leave a legacy to the maximum of your ability and capacity and your heart.
Beautiful. I totally agree, everyone. Your health is your biggest resource and your health is your wealth. So, Julz, how can people stay in touch with you and where can they find you online?
Just Google me, Julz Vitality or Positive Impact TV. prjulz.com is my website. Once you grab the gift, you can find a way to find me. You can literally ask your ChatGPT, give me Julz's interviews, and it'll give you all those links. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys. I'd love to maybe drop some comments and see what did you resonate with. Do you have any questions? Do you want to know more about anything? Maybe Rebecca can cover it in the next episode for you, so that you can learn a new trick and tool and make your life better.
Absolutely. We welcome any comments, questions, feedback. Don't forget to share this episode with a friend. And thank you, everybody, for listening to the Balanced, Beautiful, and Abundant show. I'm your host, Rebecca Whitman, taking you from burned out to balanced, beautiful, and abundant. And until we meet again, keep your vibe high and magnetized. Bye, everyone.
Turn it up, let the race begin. Level up, don't look back, let's go. Set the pace, watch me steal the show. Higher ground, yeah, I'm rising fast. This is my...
Hey there, it's Rebecca, your magnetic abundance mentor. Let me ask you something. Are you feeling stuck, burned out, or like life just isn't as juicy as you know it can be? If you're nodding right along, it's time for a breakthrough. My coaching program is designed to help you align your life in all 7 pillars of abundance: spiritual, physical, emotional, romantic, mental, social, and financial, so you can finally live that big, bold, sexy, and adventurous life you deserve. And here's the best part. I'm inviting you to schedule a breakthrough call with me. No pressure, no sales gimmicks, just a genuine chance to experience my coaching firsthand and get crystal clear on what is next for you. Because your best life is not a someday thing, it's a right now thing. So click the link in the show notes to book your breakthrough call and let's start making magic together. Your next level is calling you. Now it's time for some reviews. We so appreciate reviews, and Skate More Now says Rebecca brings the perfect mix of wisdom, warmth, and practical insight. Her approach to burnout, balance, and abundance is refreshingly real and deeply empowering. You can feel how much she cares about helping women rise in every area of life. Grateful for the work she's doing and the light she brings to the conversation.